Hello and welcome to episode 8 of our female character tutorial series. In this video, we're going to create the leggings or tight pants for our female character in Marvelous Designer. So let's jump right in. So here we are in Marvelous Designer. We successfully covered creating the tank top in the last video along with demonstrating some key clothing creation tools. If you need to catch up, the link for the previous episode is right there in the video description. Before we move on to the pants, I need to protect the work we've done. I'm going to grab all these tank top fabrics. In the 3D view, right-click on the cloth and select Freeze. This action will lock the cloth in its current state. We won't be able to make accidental changes. And most importantly, if we activate the simulation, it won't affect this frozen garment. Now that everything is set, let's move on to creating the pants. From the fabric panel, I'll add a new layer. Our tank top is on fabric 1, so we'll use fabric 2 to create the pants. Let's grab the rectangle tool, and I'll draw a basic rectangular pattern over here like this. I'll select the Transform Pattern tool and move this fabric piece to the center of the body in the 2D pattern view. I won't be keeping it as a rectangle, so let's start tweaking the shape now. I want the lower edge to be wider than the upper one, but I'll skip manual tweaking. Instead, I'll grab the Edit Pattern tool, select the lower edge, right-click on it and choose Change Length. Now, if we simply change the length value and hit OK, it will only update on one side of the pattern. I want both sides to expand equally at the same time, so I'll Ctrl-Z to undo. I'll right-click on this edge again and select Change Length. This time, I will change the direction drop-down menu to both. Now, when we adjust the length value, it will update on both sides of the pattern simultaneously, giving us that symmetrical flare. I'll do the same thing for the upper edge as well. But this time, I'll reduce the length value slightly. Using this feature is far more accurate and efficient rather than trying to adjust the shape manually. I'll just widen up this lower edge a little bit more from both sides. This should be fine. Now let's select this fabric piece, press Ctrl-D to duplicate it, and place the copy over here. In the 3D view, I will move one of the pieces and position it at the back. Then I'll right-click on that back piece and select Flip horizontally. Now it's time to sew the pieces together. Let's grab the segment sewing tool and connect these side edges of the front and back patterns. With the side seams connected, let's hit the spacebar and see how the fabric drapes by activating the simulation. The fit seems loose. To tighten it up, I'm going to scale the pattern down. With the Transform Pattern tool selected, I'll double-click the center handle. The dots will turn orange, which means we can now scale it symmetrically from both sides at the same time. I'll scale them down a little bit more. That looks much better. Now I'll select both of these patterns and freeze them to lock the current position. Now that the waistline is set, let's move on to creating the actual legs for the leggings. I'll grab the polygon tool and start creating the pattern right here. Next, I'm switching to the Edit Curvature tool and curve this inner edge inward like this. And then let's curve this outer edge outward like so. Now let's select this pattern and press Ctrl D to create a symmetric pattern with sewing and place it here. Next, I will select both of those pieces, use Ctrl C to copy, and then Ctrl V to paste a mirrored pair for the back section, placing them over here. And now I'll arrange these pattern pieces with the help of the arrangement points to place them in their correct position on the avatar. Now we're ready to sew these pattern pieces. But first, a quick preparation step. I'll use the Edit Pattern tool. I'm going to select the specific edge, right-click on it, and choose Split. From here, I'm going to enable this uniform split that will automatically create a point exactly at the middle of this edge. Then I'll hit OK. And since these two are symmetrical patterns, that will automatically update on the other pattern piece as well. And now, using the segment sewing tool, I'm going to start sewing these patterns together piece by piece. It looks like we're getting an error when sewing the waist and leg pieces together. Let's figure out what's going wrong. First, I'll just move these tank top pieces aside so we can get a much clearer view of the sewing lines and patterns. As you can see, that crisscross line appearing on the sewing connection is our biggest clue. It means we are not connecting the edges with the correct piece. And the fact that symmetry is active is definitely complicating things. So I'll just grab the Transform Pattern tool, then drag and select all these legging patterns. Next, I will right-click on the fabric and select Remove Linked Editing. This will disable symmetry for these specific pattern pieces. And now that symmetry is off, I can try sewing the pieces one by one and check the connections. So in my case, this waist pattern is placed in the front. So I'll connect these front two pieces. And then let's connect these back pieces. With the sewing lines fixed, the connections are looking correct. Next, I'll hit the spacebar to activate the simulation and see how the pants drape on the avatar. While the simulation is running, I'm going to pull out the cloth to relax the tension and achieve a better fit around the avatar, eliminating any areas where the cloth is penetrating with the mesh. I'm going to adjust the waistline edge using the Change Length option and scale them down. This should help tighten up the fit and smooth out those visible creases in that area. I can still see some creases on the back, so I'm going to scale the back patterns down a little bit more to achieve a smooth and skin-tight look. Now the fitting is looking great. We can also change the material of the cloth by selecting different presets. To give these leggings the right look, simply select the fabric layer that contains the leggings. Then in the Property Editor panel, scroll down here and select a preset that is appropriate for a tight-fitting garment like this. After that, I will select these two fabric pieces. Then in the 3D view, right-click on top of them and select Unfreeze. Now let's hit the spacebar to activate simulation again, and we can start adjusting the fit accordingly. Now here's another cool and very helpful thing we can do. We can effectively pin or anchor any edge or vertex in place, and when the simulation is running, it will stay fixed and it won't move or drape. Let me show you what exactly I mean by that. If you hover over this icon, you'll find the pin box option. Select it. Now let's drag and select these vertices along the waistline. I will deselect any extra vertices using the Control key. Now this selected area is fixed in place. If I hit the spacebar, everything else will simulate except those pinned vertices. This is very helpful when you want to anchor your fabric to a particular point. We can also increase the poly count of the fabrics for better results during simulation, giving us finer detail. To check the current density, we can hover over to this display icon and select Wireframe on Monochrome. Now to increase the density, we have to select the fabrics. But first make sure you are in the correct fabric layer over here, and then select the patterns that belong to that layer. Once selected, if we reduce the value of particle distance, it will effectively increase the poly count of that fabric. However, before activating simulation, one thing you have to keep in mind is that the pins we selected earlier remain attached only to the original vertices. Since the poly count has increased and new vertices were added, we must reselect those extra new points in that pin section to include them and secure the entire area again. So I'll select all the vertices on the top section of the waistline again, and then deselect any extra vertices outside of the pinning area. Then I can hit the spacebar to activate the simulation. And now I will adjust the shape of the patterns to reduce this bulge in this area and smooth it out. Now that the basic shape is looking good, it's time to add some details. First, I will make these patterns symmetrical again, so we only have to work on one side. I'll select both patterns, right-click on them, and choose Symmetric Pattern with Sewing. Now I'll hover over this icon where we can find the tools to create patterns directly on top of the existing cloth. I'm going to select the internal polygon/line tool to start drawing a pattern detail onto the leggings. But I'm not sure exactly where to start the line from. So here's a trick. I'll hit the spacebar to keep the simulation active. Then in the 3D view, I'll click on a point on the garment to mark the starting point of my detail line. This gives me a guidance point right in the 2D pattern view, and now I can start creating the pattern accurately. I'll just left-click to place a point here. Let's place another point in the middle, and one more at the bottom edge of the leg. Now, once you are done drawing the pattern, don't click anywhere else. Just hit Enter to complete the line. Now over here, we are able to see the extra line created, but it is barely visible in the 3D view. So what I'll do is hover over this display icon and select Show Internal Lines. Now we can clearly see how the lines are looking in the 3D view. Now this line is looking very straight, so I'll grab the Edit Curvature tool and bend this portion of the line like this to add a curve in the line. Then I'll switch to the Edit Pattern tool and move this bottom point to position it precisely on the center of the leg from the 3D view. Cool! This is looking fine for now. Next, I'll select these internal lines, right-click on top of them, and select Offset as internal line. This lets us quickly create a parallel duplicate for added detail. Now you can adjust the distance value and see how far apart you want the new line to be. You can also change the direction of the offset line by enabling this reverse direction checkbox. I'll keep the distance like this and hit OK. Now the distance between the two lines is uneven. It's very narrow in the middle compared to the upper and lower sections. We need to fix this. Since the offset follows the original curve, we might need to manually adjust the original internal line to create a more uniform distance. So I'll go over here and select the Add Point or Split Line tool, and then add a point right here on the internal line. Then using the Edit Curvature tool, I will bend this line and tweak the shape until we maintain a perfectly even distance between the two lines. Now these internal lines are looking fine. Next, I'll select all these internal lines, right-click on them, and select Cut and Sew. This action splits the main pattern into separate pieces right along those lines, but they remain sewed together. As you can see, the new seam lines are clearly visible on the leggings in the 3D view, and because symmetry is active, it automatically applied the cuts to the other leg as well. Perfect! Similarly, I will repeat the same process on the back of the leggings. Once the back detailing is done, I will create internal lines across the top of the knee area like this. I am holding the Shift key to ensure I create a perfectly straight line. I am not creating the internal lines on the thin pattern pieces we just created, but only on the main fabric section. After drawing, I'll split these lines using cut and sew. Similarly, I'm going to draw internal lines in this area of the leg as well, and then split them to create a separate pattern panel in this section. Now I want these detailed pattern lines to continue up to the waistline fabric as well. So I'll create the necessary internal lines on the upper pattern pieces, and then split them using cut and sew to complete the vertical seams. Now that I've created the splits on the waistline fabric, I'll need to reselect the pins on all the newly created pattern edges before I activate the simulation. This ensures the waistline sticks firmly to that particular position while the rest of the fabric drapes. With the leggings finalized, I'll freeze those pattern pieces to lock the fit. Next, I am going to unfreeze the tank top fabrics and start focusing on adding pattern details on it using the similar process. I'll draw an internal line in this area, and then split the pattern using cut and sew. After that, let's curve out these new edges to ensure the new panel fits properly. And in this way, we can easily create some amazing clothes and detailed patterns using techniques like internal lines and cut and sew in Marvelous Designer. That concludes episode 8 of our female character modeling series. In the next episode, we'll learn to create shoes for our character in Autodesk Maya. So make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this video. Happy modeling, and I'll see you in the next one.